Angel City Talent, not just, she created it. They just celebrated 30 years in this business. Please give a warm welcome. I'm so excited to talk to you about everything. Mimi Meyer. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm so good. The magic of Zoom life. The magic of Zoom life.
It saved us.
It
It
really,
has saved.
it really
Masks. Yeah, masks and Zoom.
masks and Zoom. Let's not even get into how much I believe in masks. I like spy on people outside my office and take pictures, and it's crazy. I've become crazy about it, but I'm trying to mellow out about it,
Oh
right?
yeah. No, I've turned into the mask police when I'm in the store. I'll be like, I just bark at them like, cover your nose, cover your nose. And people do, because I think they're afraid of me, and they should be at this point.
You know what, Mimi? They're afraid of me too. But we come from a good place. We're just trying to save lives.
Yeah.
But on another note, thank you for coming. I want to hear all about you. In all my years of coaching and running my studio, we've never physically met. And well, now we're not physically meeting either, but at least I'm seeing your face
Yeah.
and having a conversation. I want to hear all about how you got started.
This is, if you see me on the street, this is me.
You look not the same. No,
I know.
yes, I'll recognize you. I'll recognize you.
Okay.
So talk to us how you created and you started Angel City Talent. It's been around for 30 years. Congratulations. So exciting, incredible to sustain in this crazy business so many years. So how did you get started, and And then I want to talk about, for actors who are listening, what it is to be an agent, what the job is, and how you, like a day in the life. So tell us how you got started.
Okay, well, how I got started was, it's a whole bunch of things converged, I think, all at once, because I graduated with a degree in film studies from UNLV. I was the first person to graduate with that degree from that university.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
Yeah, and I came here and I was not an actor. I was a creative, and which, not that actors aren't creative, don't get, but you know what I mean. Not an actor, didn't study acting.
The other
Yes,
side of it.
thank you.
Yeah.
And but I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I just, what I wanted to do with that degree, or, what path I wanted to take. So I did a lot of different things. I did copywriting. I worked at ad agencies. I was a nightclub booker, and did PR and, public relations, and for, restaurants and clubs and stuff like that. And I worked on a boat. I lived on a boat. I worked on a boat.
Wait, whoa, what kind of, like a cruise ship or just like a boat?
No, a boat down here in Marina Del Rey. I lived on it and I worked on it, and we would take, take tours out, and I dropped the anchor and I would bait the hook and I would clean the fish, and I was the galley girl.
I love it.
So yeah, it was, it sounds quite romantic, but it was hard work, and
of course,
so, but it was,
from boating to agenting.
Yes, and I was actually doing a lot of those same jobs while I lived on the boat. I had 2 phone lines and on the boat, and I would be talking on the phone and fishing or whatever, or tying hooks. And so, there was that. And I then got a job at a radio station at KKGO Radio, which is now the country station. It was jazz at that time. I got a job there, and I was there for a year, and I hold the record still for the longest running person in that position at that station. But my boss came in one day and he asked me to fire a bunch of men twice my age. I was like 26 years old. And these guys had all been, and it was all men, and they were all literally twice my age. And they'd all been at the station, anywhere from 15 to 30 years. Wow. And he didn't give me a reason. And I was like, wow, okay. So like, men are openly crying in my office, and I was like, I don't know what to do. Here's my phone number. I'll give you a good recommendation, and blah, 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 blah. And it was terrible. It was a terrible, awful, terrible, bad day. And then he called me in and he fired me. And then of course the waterworks went even more. And I was like, oh man, now what am I gonna do? And
Wow.
yeah, and you know, some friends of mine were actors, and one of them said, well, why don't you go work at my agent's office? Well, I didn't have any idea what an agent did. I didn't know what actors did. You know, I didn't know any of that.
Right.
And so I went into Jack Scagnetti and I brought my resume, and, you know, I'm 26 to just about 27 years old. And, you know, like, you know, we're all kind of adorable at 26, 27.
Of
And he
course.
was like, well, I'm not really taking on any character actors. I'm like, I'm not a character actor. I'm here to be an agent. And so he gave me the job, and it just, you know, it worked out, all the things that I
So
had done. And
it's so interesting because I say to actors when you're creating the life of your character to find that life-changing moment that parlays that character into something else. So that experience working on for that guy, making you do all that firing was a life-changing moment that all the
yeah,
cards fell into place. But I
yeah,
divert the
yeah.
conversation.
And
Go ahead.
I actually ran into him about 3 years ago, and I've been wanting to thank him
To the guy
for
that fired you, that
yeah,
fired.
yeah. And I
Wow.
had been wanting to thank him because of that change. And, you know, it was tough at first. And, you know, when you don't know why you're being fired, you know, if you're already suffering from some low self-esteem,
Right.
believe me, that's just like gasoline on the fire.
Totally.
And so I struggled through that for a while. And then I was like, you know what, if he had not fired me, I wouldn't be on this amazing path. So
Yep.
so got to tell him that. He didn't quite grasp what I was talking about because he was, you know,
He doesn't really
kind of,
seem like the type that would. He does.
yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
so I worked for Jack Scagnetti, and then I got hired over by another agency, and then I got hired over by another agency, and I have anybody who's over 40 probably knows who Jack Scagnetti was,
Right.
and he was really a wonderful person and very, very helpful, and really let me learn on my own. And, you know, when fortunately, I didn't make like big, horrible mistakes, but when I would make the mistakes, he would show me a better way, you know. But he really was a great teacher in that he kept hands off a lot and let me figure it out.
Wow.
Um,
And he
and
trusted to hire you. You didn't even have any experience. So there must have been something in your
yeah,
drive and your passion that made him feel connected to
yeah, yeah.
you that
Yeah,
time.
so you know, I have a lot of respect for him, and people want to make fun of him and stuff like that. But I'm like, you know what? There's so much you don't know about him, so, you know, hold off on that.
Why do people want to make fun of him? I don't understand that. That's just,
Well, because well, first of all, he'd be like, "Hello, it's Jack Scagnetti." That's what he
okay.
sounded like, you know, and it was, he had this voice, and he was always like, "You talk on the phone too much," and I'm like, "I love to talk on the phone. The phone is the greatest thing in the world." And you know, he didn't like to talk on the phone. So I was like, if you're going to be an agent, and at that time it was all phone or in person.
Totally.
So I was like, no, man, I was made for this. This is my dream. So
Incredible.
anyway, so after a couple of agencies, I had actually I didn't really have the kind of, you know, mailroom training that people get at William Morris or CAA or wherever, you know, where you're in the bowels of the building and you're crying in the stairwells every day at lunch and, you know, drinking heavily at night. You know, talk to any of those people. But I did learn enough about how not to run an agency that I reached a point where I was like, you know what, I know I can do better than this. And so my business partner at the time, I said, why don't you be my business partner and let's do this.
Hmm.
And we started, and we were very, very fortunate. We had really good clients that had come along with us through, you know, through the different agencies.
And you just took a
And
like you had a calling for it. You liked the negotiating, you liked the talking on the phone. What was it? Is it all those things? That's just the human contact and interaction, and what was that?
it's all those things. It's
Yeah.
all those things. It's, you know, I love, especially like when a breakdown is written really well, and I can really like mine the specifics to find the, you know, the best
Mm.
actor for that, you
Mhm.
know, then it's really, really fun to be able to collaborate with the casting director and you know, and sort of think outside of the box. And I am going to brag for a second, because when I started doing this in 1986,
Wow.
casting directors would say to me then, because I was lucky, I got a lot of appointments and we had a lot of bookings, but they would say repeatedly, and this was at that time, not now, this is, you know, the
Different
playing
time.
field
We'll-
is,
we'll
but
talk
at
about-
that
Yeah.
at that time, they would say to me all the time, you're the only agent that we're seeing that is submitting people of color, and you know, asking if you could submit women for men's roles, men for women's roles, if it made sense.
You're ahead of your time. You were thinking outside the box, which I believe is the only way to go.
Yeah, well, I was thinking, who's great for this job? And you have to think past, you know, ethnicity and gender and all that. You have to think, who's going to do this really well?
100%.
So I guess that's my big bragging point.
Well, I think it's incredible, but I think that the bragging point also is the fact that you've sustained and had a successful agency for all this time. So all these obstacles happen. You created Angel City, and was it successful right away? Because a lot of people try to start agencies that are not in the bigger, you know, the more boutique agencies, and they don't succeed. So what was it for you that made that click?
It actually was successful right away. Within the first week, you know, we were working in another agency and we had clients on auditions and callbacks. And, you know, we started with his blessing. So, you know, he knew we were taking the clients. There was no like sneaking out in the night with file cabinets. Everything was legit and above board, no secrets. But within the first hour, we booked a big fat national for a client of ours. And then, which was,
Jumping,
you know.
were you jumping in your office? Were you screaming?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There was lots of high-fiving and yelling and screaming.
Yes.
It was great. And then right after that, a breakdown came out for Eminem's 50th anniversary. And they wanted to put together a choir. Well, I'm a musician, and I reached out to, oops, sorry, everybody. Sorry, dog.
All right.
I reached out to, and this was probably terribly unfair, but I reached out to the gospel choirs around the city. And in retrospect, I would do this differently, but at that time I was like, okay, let's get every soloist from every gospel choir in this town and put all those voices together. And so we did, and we had like 12 people, and we called it the Angel City Choir. You know, we were like, we gotta have a name. So it was the Angel City Choir. And they booked the job. And two of those people actually had agents, so we didn't get the commissions, but we got 10 commissions on the Eminem's National.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
Yeah, so that was cool. And hearing them rehearse was just like, it just gave you the feels all the way down to your toes and back. It was just really something. But they ended up shooting the commercial, and all these beautiful voices and these beautiful faces just singing, no harmony, just singing in unison, happy birthday. And I was like,
wow,
you could have changed the world with this, you know.
Gosh,
so
incredible.
But that was really you know, so we started off on
what kind of musician are you? A singer? You're a guitarist? You're a pianist? What are you?
I'm a pianist, singer, harmonica player, harmonica teacher.
Wow.
Accordion.
Incredible. I just have to say that during COVID, I'm now taking piano lessons, and it is an incredible thing for relaxation to have. Your mind can't think of anything else when you're learning music, and it's so incredible. And it's a form of yoga for me, because it just gets me out of any thought about anything. And it's hard. So I respect the fact that you're a musician. It's a totally different muscle.
It is. It's different. Now, did you already play piano, or are you just getting started?
I never played piano, and my mother is teaching me. My mother is 85 years old, and I have her hands, which is a C to a C, and I've always rebelled. And my mother sang with the Boston Symphony and Leonard Bernstein, and she has perfect pitch, and she could do anything. So wow. Yeah, so I kind of rejected it for so many years, and now I have the time because I'm not going out to dinners. And you know what? It's amazing. It's just been amazing. I always look at that silver lining for the different little things. Anyway,
cool. That's cool.
Back to you. Okay.
Okay.
So let's just segue. Obviously, you love what you do, or you wouldn't still be doing it.
Right.
What is the most exciting part? Is it so when you're an agent, let me just ask this. Did you, and people do it differently, when you first started, did you pick up the phone to meet casting directors, have lunches? Because isn't it all about the relationships? There's no
Yeah.
way that you can move ahead without that. Actors as well. Yes?
Yeah. Yes, I did. I did pick up the phone and I did go to lunches and I did, I had Angel City mugs made with our logo on it. And I would take them with, the business cards and, I don't, a little bag of coffee or tea or whatever, and be like, here you go. And so they would have the Angel City mug with the logo and our phone number right on their desk. And it was a beautiful mug. And I have like one or two left and they're chipped and they're just, and I debate, I'm like, should I make some more? Because the logo is
No,
beautiful,
you
but
should. You should make more. People love little presents. People love that. Actors to agents, agents to casting. Oh, yes.
yeah. Well, and there's still casting directors that will tell me, they're like, I still have your mug.
That's
And
amazing.
that's 30 years.
That's
So
amazing.
it's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing.
So do you
So,
feel like it is all about connection when you're picking up the phone, when you're submitting? So tell the people that are listening, a lot of people know, but so you get a breakdown, you make a phone call, you send in. Nowadays, let's talk about how it changed, how you used to have a pickup of pictures and now it's a click on the computer. How has it changed?
well, I think just the avenue in which we communicate has changed. I don't get to talk to my casting directors as much on the phone, but I'm with them on, GChat or iChat or chat messenger or whatever, or email or, Zoom or FaceTime, whatever, and, if I don't have a relationship with a casting director that one of my clients does, then that's an opportunity for me to say, hey, and it's, I actually can't think of any off the top of my head that I don't have a relationship with, because
Right.
I've been doing this for so long that, I kind of have talked to everybody at this point. But, some you have a better, and a more intimate relationship with than others.
Right.
But if there's a casting director that doesn't necessarily know me as well, but they know my actor, because I do ask my actors, I'm like, please give me a list of the casting directors you have and industry people that you have a relationship with, so that I can call and say, hey, I represent your brother-in-law, or
Right.
whatever. Um, and that helps to open the door. So, but yeah, relationship building trust is, what's happened here? Something just popped up on my screen. Building trust is key. And the minute and that's key. We see it in our politics. We see it in our life. The minute you break trust, you are, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. So you have to.
You started in the right way with all those other experiences you just told me about, that you're creating trust in your life prior. So you do have to, it is all about that. And actors with you that you probably sign, yes, I agree, 1000%. But tell us like a day. So what happens in an agent's day in the life of getting the breakdown, and explain what that is to everybody, please.
Well, let's see. For about the first 3 months of the pandemic, a day in the agent's life was we wouldn't get out of bed until noon.
Yeah.
And then
I'm talking pre-COVID into now. Let's
okay.
yell and be so happy that production is back and coming back stronger and stronger and stronger. They're figuring it out. But yeah, let's talk about pre-COVID, because I think actors just assume so many things. They don't really know, and I want you to explain it. Mimi,
Yeah.
get away.
Okay, so the day in the life of an agent. Well, let's see. Okay, step by step. My dog wakes me up about 7 o'clock. So we flip the coffee on. We open the door to go outside. We come in, and while the coffee's dripping, I come in and I check emails to see if I work out of my house, which is and I have for many years. So I was already very fortunate. So I come in and I check my emails to see if anything's going on, anything happened overnight. I mean, the last thing I do before I go to bed is check my emails, check texts, whatever, check the breakdown, see if anything's popped up. And then last thing at night, first thing in the morning. And then, basically look at the breakdowns and see what's going on. See if any same day auditions have popped up, see if anything's on a rush, whatever. I try and, get those breakdowns in as quickly.
Now, when the breakdowns come out, do they come out to some agents before others, or does everybody get it at the same time? And during that time of that breakdown, how much time do you have to submit, and what does that submitting process look like? Do you just know your roster so well? You just, send pictures over? How does that work?
Well, I know my roster pretty well, and it's relatively small. We have about 100, maybe even fewer than that now, theatrically. So it's it's quite manageable.
Yes.
So, but every once in a while, if like a specialty thing comes up, like must speak, Southern rural Swahili, then I'm like, okay, what does that even mean? So then I'll have to do a search. But otherwise, I pretty much know a lot of the, special skills. And that's, often what got them in the door to begin with was like that somebody had this unique skill. So I'm not going to forget that after we take them on because of it.
Right. So how do you submit? Do you just put their name, their link? What happens?
Well, breakdowns, you basically just click you click the button, you make sure that their demo reels and Slate Shots demo reels, demo clips are all attached. And if there's, if they're looking for something specific, I'll, like say if they want to hire, they're looking to cast a nurse, I'll type in actual practicing nurse, registered nurse working at, Cedars or something like that. We'll put in actual notes so that they know that this person is very familiar with that kind of motion, that kind of language, that kind of behavior of a nurse or whatever. So, I mean, that's kind of a random one, but nurses come up all the time. So if we have somebody that is a nurse or whatever, it's great.
Is that nurse a good actress? You don't.
Well, they have to be a good actor. We don't take them on because they're a nurse. We take them on because they're a good actor. But that's great for casting because like we have a couple of broadcasters, but they're trained actors that are broadcasters. And there's a big difference. Like if a show wants a broadcaster, like somebody from KTLA or somebody from CBS Local or whatever, and they want an actual face of that channel, then that's what they're going to get. But if they're going to have to direct that person, broadcasters often don't know how to take the direction, but actors do. So they can be a broadcaster that is able to take direction and make changes. So, so if you have that diverse in all the things that you can do, don't you think it's important for actors to have other jobs? I think it's so important. You can sustain and be financially independent and still be an actor and still go out for jobs and don't, and have that, that security. So there's that less feeling of that neediness, which gives you more confidence, which allows you to book the darn roles. Don't you agree? I totally agree. And if you're a creative person, if you've chosen this business, you're a creative person. If you don't have the opportunity to exercise your creativity as an actor, you still have to do something with that creative energy that you have. So take whatever that is, whether if you're stocking shelves, if you're an Instacart worker, if you're a pool cleaner, if you're a
doctor,
nurse, any of that,
lawyer.
Love what you're doing. And if you love what you're doing and you put that same emotion and energy into whatever you're doing right now, that vibe is going to translate into everything.
Agreed. I am not a religious person, but I am a big believer in the power of intention and that positive energy. And if you're enjoying yourself, it radiates. The energy just radiates. And it radiates probably when you meet actors too. So now in Zoom days, COVID days, are you taking meetings with actors and even just meeting your own clientele and just saying hello on Zoom? What are you doing?
I am meeting new actors on Zoom. That's funny that you say that because I actually have not had I've had a couple of FaceTimes with actors. I've had mostly phone or email exchanges or whatever, but I've said, I'm like, hey, let's have a Zoom meeting. And then we just never get to it.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's so much more connecting than just being on the phone. But FaceTime is amazing too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Um,
FaceTime usually happens when my ear hits the FaceTime button when I'm on the phone. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, hi, how are you?
That's so funny. So what is it about actors that attracts you to wanting to represent them? Do you work with brand new actors? Do they need to have a substantial resume? And if they don't have a substantial resume, what is it? What's that thing that attracts you to that person?
Well, for the people with no, you know, with really no credits or that really need a lot of development and help. I mean, first we look at the look. You know, you're going to go with start with the picture, start with the
Right?
look. And if
Right?
they, if they look just like somebody we already have on the roster, then I'm like, I don't even want to know, especially if that person's working. I'm like, I'm not going to conflict them. I'm not going to do that to the actor that's already on board, that I've already invested in and that's invested in us.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm like, oh, you know what, we could really use this, this Malaysian actor that speaks several languages. This is great. So, I'll look at their resume, and if their resume has some good, some solid, recognizable training. If you've trained with somebody in Malaysia, maybe a great teacher, but I don't know them
Yes.
or know of
Look at
them.
the training. You do look at the training.
Absolutely.
Great. I'm so happy.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I look at because what have you got? You've got training and special skills.
Yes.
So, I look at training and special skills, and if I see special skills like multiple languages or multiple, very high level of athletic ability in a variety of things, or stunts, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever stuff like that, then we'll take a closer look. And what I'll do is I'll send them materials to prepare a self-tape and to send to me. And that way, that also shows me that they know how to self-tape,
Yes.
which everybody needs to know how to do that.
They so need
And
to know.
yeah. And but that's not a new thing. A thing popped up on my Facebook in this past May from 4 years ago. And I said,
Taping.
yes.
Yeah.
And I said, hey guys, it's not even noon yet, and we've already had 12 requests for self-tape. This is 4 years ago, almost 4.5 years ago now. And I said, if you don't know how to do this, you need to learn how to do it, because this is the new normal.
That's so funny. 4 years ago. Now this really is the normal. And we have classes that deal just in self-tapes. But the simple key element for self-taping is your framing, is your soundboard, and your lights. And if you don't have that, then somebody else who does is going to be more intriguing in that opening moment.
Yep.
And oh gosh, I hope everyone's in classes about it. And even, being in classes now, when you are in your Zoom box, it's like you're training yourself. You're training yourself for your own sound, how your voice resonates. So you think it might resonate one way and it resonates another way. How you're framing yourself too far, too close, how you can move and what your area is. Because you're going to have not only self-tapes, but you're going to have Zoom callbacks. And you're going to have Zoom auditions. So you better know how to work your box.
Mm-hmm.
So important.
Yeah, and I'm not great. I'm not great at the box yet. I can do a few things, but all my music lessons, my harmonica, my voice, my, all that stuff is all on Zoom now.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, and my eyes are always straining because I don't wear glasses. I just wear magnifiers to see close up. Oh. But yeah, it's a lot. But you know what? We're malleable, right, Mimi? We have to be malleable. And let me just ask you this. So how has the business changed, not even pre-COVID, from years to up to 2019, before 2020? What is the difference? Is it less physical communication, less verbal communication? Is it the same? Is it harder to get actors into the room? Do you have to pitch harder? Do you have to work harder, to get your cream of the crop in there? What is it?
I think you do have to pitch a little bit harder because well, we'll see after this pandemic really comes to an end. We'll see what the numbers are, but it started to get crazy where so many people were moving to Los Angeles and calling themselves actors, and then getting an agent or getting a manager, and they weren't really prepared to be competitive, but they had a good look or they talked a good game or whatever, and so they would get representation and they would get auditions and take the spots of somebody who of actors who were much more qualified, much better. And, you know, I'm not saying that actors that came here with no, you know, bag of tricks didn't, you know, find a way, if they wanted to, find a way to develop them. But a lot of people moved here thinking acting is easy.
They really don't understand. They don't understand it's a craft. And yes, I agree with you. A lot of people just come here and think because they want it that it's just so easy. And some people do have that natural ability. I just worked with a famous rapper yesterday, and he hasn't had any acting lessons, and maybe because he writes and he performs in his music, he understands that transition, but he was very natural about it. But most of the time, you have to have that training. You have to be able to.
Yeah. And I had a relatively well-known sports coach who I will not name, and he said, "Oh, you know, I do all this live stuff, and here I am with Kobe, and here I am with Shaq, and here I am with so-and-so, and he's showing me this stuff on his phone, you know, and these were, and he goes, yeah, I'm sure I could be an actor. You know, why don't you just let me, and I said, well, have you ever taken an acting class? Well, no, I don't really need it. And I said, well, how about this? How about I just go ahead and why don't you hire me as a coach?
Yeah, 100%.
And he was like, what? And I go, yeah, I mean, how hard is it? Yeah. And I mean, I kind of punched him in the face with it because I was like, you're insulting me and all my talent and all this effort that's been put in. Don't insult us. And I will not insult you likewise.
But you know why he thinks it's easy? He thinks it's easy because actors at the end, after doing all the work, they make it look easy. And it should be easy at the end of the day. It's about layering it, which he doesn't understand.
Right.
People don't understand.
No, and I try and explain it. I'm like, do you really want to watch those skaters from the time they're 7 years old and getting up at 4 a.m. and falling on their ass for 20 years before they finally make it to the Olympics? Do you want to watch that? No, you see the final product and it's awesome. And you think that just happened. It didn't just happen. So.
Great. So what attracts you to people is maybe their picture first to see if it's going to fit. But what if, like, do people just submit emails to you with pictures randomly? Do they send it in the mail anymore? I mean, usually when you submitted, you were having a pickup, right? Of pictures. That's no longer.
No. Yeah. No. We have, I think it should say on our website that we don't accept hard copy pictures. I want everything electronic. We've been electronic for a long time because I want to, you know, we got to save the planet.
Please save the planet, yes.
And I still get those pictures. Occasionally I'll get a picture and resume and I will return it to them because I'm exasperated. I'm like, I know you went to the website and this is making you stand out as a fool who doesn't care about the planet. So goodbye.
Or following directions that you are asking for.
Right. Yeah. And it's a simple request and it will save them money and time and effort, you know? So, so we look at things, we try to look at everything. It's just me right now. I don't have any help in the office. So I can't say that I'm able to look at everything right now, but I do look at a lot of stuff. I do. And everything that, if somebody calls, I'll tell them to send their stuff and I'll take a look. I'll tell them to send it straight to my email.
Is it through recommendations, like actors that are out there because you're a boutique agency? So that you're more open probably than to others about more, actors that are just starting. So can they just email you right now? Is it only through recommendations from other managers or other actors? How does that work for you?
People can email right now, but the people that are recommended either through our other clients or casting directors or managers or teachers or whatever are going to get preferential viewing because they've already got somebody vouching for them.
Yes. Okay. What's the
But
email? Say it. What's your email?
oh, it's angelcitytalent at gmail.com. I know, very clever.
But hey, clear. We got the name, we got the title. Can I ask you something? I hope everyone wrote that down, angelcitytalent at gmail.com. If you're looking, because I always tell people to be courteously aggressive, what if they sent the picture and it was a right fit? Hey, you never know. You never know that right now someone listening to this podcast is going to do it and is going to be your next client and you're both going to make a lot of money. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
You really don't know. Yeah. And I mean, there are people that we got out of the mail or the, email or mail or however long, if it was long ago, it was out of the actual mail, that have been with us for years and done very, very, very well. So you just don't know. I will say, do not mail, just email. Don't mail it anymore.
No mailing. No mailing.
No.
I want to talk about an actor's resume. I want to talk about what is more appeasing to you, because you know what? Everyone has a different opinion about everything. If you have a role, should you write co-star or featured, or should you leave that blank and just write the director or just write the network? Do you want all the information in there? And do you feel like it should go television, film, and then stage, then commercials, then training, and then, your special skills?
Well, I'm trained, my eye is trained, as are casting records, your eye is trained to look for certain things in certain places. So there's a basic format. You've got your, let's see, do I have any hanging around here? I don't know if I have. I just cleaned off my desk, so I don't have anything sitting in front of me right now. But if you have a substantial amount of television and a substantial amount of film, then I'd say do television, do film, then do stage, then do your training, then do your special skills, in that order. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Make sure you have your stats on the, well, and I'm talking hard copy resume. If you ever go into an office again.
Well, you will. You will.
I know.
So yes.
So I'm saying that if you have a small amount of both film and television, I say combine film and television category and put your most not necessarily your biggest, because you might have had a lead in a film in Bowling Green, Ohio that nobody saw ever. So that really doesn't have any validity yet. So put your most recognizable credits at the top, because that will key people to go, oh, you were on Mom. Oh, okay, cool. Let's look some more. And so I say the name of the show, the level of the role in the center category.
So you do say put co-star or featured or guest star or series regular. You want that in the middle.
Well, yes, except featured, never say featured, because featured to casting means background.
Yes.
So there's series regular, there's recurring, and there's recurring guest star or recurring co-star.
Okay.
There's co-star.
Yes. And
if you got featured on a TV show, then you were an extra. So don't put that. Don't even put that credit.
Throwing it out there because people ask, so that's why I'm throwing it out there.
Yeah, I say don't put it, because your background, and if you were background on a show that is still running, then and you have that on there, you're never going to get a shot at getting on that show, because casting is going to go, well, you already did the show. Well, no, I was background. You couldn't see my face. Well, nope, too bad.
Right. But what about people always get shot? I mean, not always, but you can get stuck in the co-star, and you can have 50 co-star credits. Do you think it behooves the actor to keep writing co-star, or if you left it blank, then it leaves a conversation? Do you think that's important? It's tricky as the business.
I think it's a case by case, but I think that's also a conversation with because some things are labeled co-star because of budget, not because of the size of the role.
Right.
So I've been telling actors this since the early 90s when, you know, that all shifted, because the rule on a guest star is if you get hired for a 1-day guest star and they say, we're going to call it a guest star, that's because they are absolutely 100% sure that you're only going to work 1 day, so they can give you the guest star. But if they think that it's going to possibly roll into a second day, they can't do a 2-day guest star. It's either 1 day or all days. So they either have to go from, so they either have to go from 12, they either pay $12.50 or they have to pay the, you know, whatever it is, $7,500, whatever guest star top of the show is. And there's no wiggle room in between. And that's a union thing. That's not a negotiable thing. So if they're like, well, it's going to have to be a 3-day, so we're going to have to do a CoStar, I tell my actors, I say, put large in parentheses next to CoStar. And casting knows what that means.
Okay, fine. I didn't know that. That's interesting to know, because I have coached so many people that have 6 pages and they're titling it as a CoStar, which has nothing to do with the size. It is the budget. It's how much they want to pay. Yeah. But people do.
It's not even what they want to pay. It's what they're able to pay.
Right. You know? What they're able to pay. Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you're suggesting this: film, TV first, TV before film. If you have a lot of TV and a lot of film, you don't think film should go first?
I think more people watch more TV.
It's crazy. Things have changed so much. It is. Yeah,
it used to be the reverse.
Netflix, Amazon is all movies, but it's really television. Right. Okay. So combine it. If there's not a lot of credits, combine it. Mm-hmm. And then after that, you're going to put, I'm sorry, what was it?
Well, film, television, theater, if you have theater.
Okay, if you don't,
if you don't make stuff up. And that's the other thing. Be 100% honest on your resume. Do not bullshit.
Wow.
It will come back to you.
What if you have nothing on your resume and you just want to put a couple of like scenes that you did from class, and then you, what do you do? It's such
well, if you did a couple scenes from class, if you really did those, put them on there, you know, but it has to be true. Okay. You know, it has to be true, because if it's not, and somebody says, oh, I see you really don't have any credits, but you did this scene. What about when the actor says blah, blah, blah? Because a lot of casting directors were actors or directors or writers, so they know. Don't have anything on your resume that you can't back up with a conversation.
Yeah.
It will bite you. It will bite you. And the truth is this: nobody is born having a resume.
Yeah.
And everybody comes to this from different paths and at different ages.
Yeah.
You know, but if you're good and you're professional and you're thoughtful and you're, you know, curious and respectful and all that, these things will come.
I agree. I just agree. When actors really, you know, when they're passionate about it and they do the necessary steps and they have everything in order and they have their craft ready to go and they know who they are inside and out and they know how to have a conversation and connect to people, it comes. It comes.
Yeah. Well, and also
levels, and it might take longer than other people, but it comes.
It does come. And also, you know, that whole being honest thing brings you right back to that, you know, creating and developing trust. And if you are lying on your resume, then you might be lying about something else. What else?
Okay. Agreed. How long do you think an actor should stay with you? Do you feel like actors will come to me and say, I haven't gone out in 3 months, pre-COVID, nothing goes right now, but I haven't gone out, I'm not feeling a connection. I said, well, don't complain to me. Have a conversation with your agent. See if you're on the same page. There's always movement to move and change. Don't stay at the party too long if you're not working for the client or the client's not, you know, invigorating you to work for them.
Right. It does need to be a conversation, but it also needs, like, when we take somebody on, you know, we'll lay it out like, okay, we'll go with the pictures you have right now, unless, you know, if somebody needs a whole new overhaul, it's like, oh dear Lord, I don't know.
Yes.
I can do this. So when we take somebody on, we begin to submit them vigorously. You know, we we don't sit and wait. I mean, we'll wait until we make sure that their pictures are all up, their profiles are filled in, their resumes filled in, all their stats and stuff are up, you know, in full on the sites on LA Casting and Actors Access and Casting Frontier. And the minute that's all up and their demo reels are up and all that stuff, we're like, okay, it's go time.
Yes.
So we'll start submitting the daylights out of them. And if we will come to them, if we're like, hey, you know what? And again, pre-COVID time, hey,
Yep.
we've submitted your picture 150 times in a month on Actors Access. And we haven't gotten one bite. We've submitted it 300 times on LA Casting, not one single bite. So we have to go back to the pictures right now and figure out if there are some other pictures that we can try, or if you need a new shoot or whatever. And if an actor comes to me and says, well, you know, I just went to this great photographer and I just spent $1,200, I'm like, if they don't work, they don't work. And I'm sorry you spent $1,200, but you can't just keep trying to put good money after bad if something doesn't work, you know?
So, okay, and so they take your direction, they do that, and it's still not working. Will you have that conversation as much as an actor has to have that conversation with you? Will you say, look, I am trying, it's not connecting. I think that you need to make a, okay. And how long do you usually give somebody? 6 months, a year, 3 months? What is it?
You know, it just depends. It just depends from one actor. I don't have a hard and fast rule on that at all. If I know we're trying and I know that actor is trying,
yes,
and you know, and they're investing and this, you know, and first of all, we're not going to take them on unless we know that they're good. So we're not like, okay, yeah, we just found you at the, you know, at the local Walmart. Come on in, let's do this. I mean, these are people that, you know, have proven to us that they have a skill.
Of course, that they have the, they got the tool.
Yeah, so we'll, you know, I think we'll give it as long as it takes. And I kind of, you know, it's never fun to let anybody go. It's just never fun. It's like, you know, it's breaking up. It's a breakup. Yeah. So, you know, we'll give it everything we got. And then if something just doesn't work, you know, sometimes it's a couple of years. Yeah. You know, but I don't want to waste anybody's time. I don't want to waste my time. But at the same time, I want to respect the energy and effort and finance that somebody's put in, that we both put in.
Beautiful. I agree. I know you have to leave. Before we close out, and I love talking to you, and I think any actor out there looking, you're such a cool vibe and just not like, you know, arrogant in any fashion. And I love that because, gosh, it's just an artistic community, and just to have that communication and the looseness and to be able to vibe out with somebody and not feel any kind of arrogance or tension is a glorious thing. And I think that is a great quality that I feel from you, and I love that. You are welcome. Can you give, as a closeout, 3 positive pieces of advice to actors out there just starting or continuing the flow and staying in hope? Some 3 positive pieces to imbue upon them before we close out.
Well, let's see. I've got one off the top of my head right now, and I said it earlier, I think, or I sort of said it, but find a way to love whatever it is you're doing. Find a way to love that. If it's making your coffee, if it's driving to the grocery store, if it's paying a parking ticket, find a way to love it, because it's an energy. You're giving yourself a gift when you do that. Find a way, and you'll also find, you know, I guess I sort of equate it to like the zen of picking up dog poop, where picking it up as its own reward, which sounds really kind of crazy, but I learned this big lesson in the dog park one day.
That's so funny, but I understand the visual of that.
Yeah. So find a way. And Jerry Seinfeld said something. He said it much better than I did in the Carl Reiner documentary. He said something like that, again, much more beautifully. But really, love what you're doing. Find a way to love everything you're doing, even the things that seem like drudgery. Find a way to love them, because that will translate to giving you more joy, making you much more fun to be around, and you'll sleep better, you'll look better, you'll just be, it's just a better way to go. So there's that. And then, you know, and this is kind of, you know, cliche, but do what you love and love what you do, which is the same sort of thing. And I guess remember to manage your expectations, because we, you know, I've told my clients, I'm like, okay, you need to send, you know, send out postcards about your booking, send out postcards. Well, you know, one client said to me, well, I sent out postcards on that booking 2 years ago and I never heard anything.
Give to give, not give to get.
Right. Give to give. Yeah. Again, and you know, do what you love, fall in love with what you're doing. So I think it really comes to that. And it's just a matter of embracing the gratitude of, you know, having the opportunity to be able to write postcards, having the opportunity to be able to, if you didn't have the privilege of having a car, you wouldn't have a ticket.
Yeah. Grateful, being grateful.
Yeah. And you know, in these times, I mean, we got some strange and wonderful gifts in this pandemic. And that was a reset to reevaluate our gratitude and what we're doing and what we love doing. So, you know, I mean, there's a lot of awfulness that's come with this, awful and tragedy, but also a lot of some silver linings.
There is some silver linings. Thank you so much for coming on and joining us today. Actors, I hope you enjoyed this. Stay out there, stay courteously aggressive, everybody. Believe in yourself, believe in yourself, and keep going for your dreams. Have a beautiful day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.